Hey everyone, welcome back to Hills and Holders Homesteading Prepping. Homesteader Mike here, and it's been a while since I put a video out, and that's because we've been busy, and I'm sure everyone else has too. But you can see above me here, we tilled this whole area up here and this plot down here, and we put over 1,000 seeds in this. We did this I think last Sunday, and we got corn and beans and squash and zucchini and turnips, and I mean, you name it, it's in there, and everything's sprouting real good. Everything's looking good, and we've been getting enough rain. We've had that hot rain, then we had a little bit of a cool down period, and which was really nice. But now, like yesterday, it was 87 degrees. It started raining last night. It rained hard almost all night and all day today. And now it's like 74 degrees, but it's 96% humidity. So if you see a glisten, that's what's going on. So there's a lot of questions that seems that some folks can't seem to get answered, and some of the other social media sites and stuff like that, people are asking, what do you think's going to happen? When do you think it's going to happen? What's going to be the SHTF moment? And I'm going to tell you, we're living in that SHTF moment. And if you think about what's going on right now, so we're at more than 40-year high interest rates or inflation. 40% of the U.S. currency, 40% of all U.S. currency, sorry, the bugs and the biting flies are out today, has been printed in the last 12 months. So you know what that does to the dollar value. On top of that, the Fed, with their scheduled interest rate increases, just announced that tomorrow, with tomorrow's meeting, they were going to raise it 50 basis points. Now they're going to raise the interest rates 75 basis points. So they've changed it up that. 30-year mortgages just hit 6.28%, and the S&P 500 entered a bear market. Now, what does all this mean? Is it the end of the world? Is it Armageddon? Or, no, it's not. Okay, it's not the worst that it's ever been in history. If you think about what the last 2 years has been, we faced a global pandemic. Our supply chains have been just completely shattered. Everything's just kind of in limbo. People are worried because we've become a comfortable and convenient society. That's what we've grown to be. And people don't know how to do things for themselves, and people don't know what to do in times of need, in hard times. And, you know, locally, gas right now, $5 a gallon, diesel, $6 a gallon. You know, there's still the big DEF fluid shortage that we talked about on a couple videos ago. And I mean, things are getting harder on folks. Food prices are up and up and up. They keep raising. USDA just 2 weeks ago, the food went up again. I mean, you know, the price increases, they just kind of unprecedented for what we would expect. And then turn around and Janet Yellen comes out and she says, well, yeah, we were wrong. We screwed up. The economy went completely the opposite way that we thought it was going to. And, you know, so truly we are living in that SHTF moment. And it doesn't look like it's going to get any better anytime soon. So we're probably looking at a couple years. And I don't think it's going to be just until the current occupier is out of office. I think the next occupier will have this to contend with. And we're probably looking at probably another 4 to 6 years before this is even resolved. I mean, you got at least 2 more years of this. And I'm going to tell you that. And it's going to get worse over these next 2 years. You know, we planned our vacation for September. And that's when the wife and I were talking today. I said, you know, gas is going to be $7 a gallon come that time. And, you know, so we have to kind of plan for that ahead. And I'm not going to disappoint the kids. You know, we don't want to do that. We don't want to disappoint the kids because they know where we're going and what they're going to do. And we don't want to disappoint them with that. And no, we're not going to Disney. Hell no, we're not going to Disney. But, you know, you have to take the proper steps. And that's why when I broke the tiller out, and I tilled this up here for the corn, I said, you know what? So we just tilled this down here, and we planted, like I said, over 1,000 seeds. And so this is partially for feed. The pig feed that I bought was $15.99 a 50-pound bag, and just in a couple weeks, it's already up $1 more. So it's up $14.99 a 50-pound bag. Now it's up to $15.99 $1 or a 50-pound bag. So, you know, feed continues to rise. They're talking it's going to continue to rise through the summer because of, number one, fuel prices, DEF fluid shortages, because, hey, guess what farm equipment runs on? DEF, okay, and diesel. So with all of that coming into play, food shortages, delivery charges, shipping rates and stuff like that, or just climbing to try to keep up with the fuel prices and stuff, what are you gonna do? You know, and you have to look at it and say, you know what, times are getting tough. You know, hey, we're still getting paid, we're still you know, we still have our job, but everything's costing a lot more, and you haven't got a cost of living raise to match the inflation, have you? No, of course you haven't. So, you know, we consolidate our trips now. Any type of errands and stuff that we need to run, we try to do them one day a week and get all of it done in one day. That way we're not back and forth, you know, a couple times through the week. And we try to plan them in the early mornings. That way we're not fighting much traffic and stuff like that. And we can get there, get our stuff and get out of there and get home and be done with it. I just finished cutting the grass up here yesterday, and just a little over 2 acres up here is what I normally cut. And that's the first time I've cut it in 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks. And I don't care if the grass gets tall. I really don't care if the grass gets tall, because that grass is, I don't need a manicured lawn. That does nothing. It makes everything kind of look nice. But when my grass grows, the clover grows, the flowers sprout, the wildflowers, the daisies, the black-eyed Susans, and you know, all the other stuff that comes into play up here that's natural and wild to this area. And guess what? We're feeding pollinators. And tall grass and tall vegetation actually decreases temperature cooler, or surface temperatures. Did you know that? So taller grass will keep a lower temperature than low cut grass or even dirt. Dirt will reflect heat, and I can vouch for that. When we tilled that garden and got in there and planted it, because I didn't want to get in ankle deep dirt with shoes on and just fill my shoes, so I just went barefoot. And I'm gonna tell you, that stuff was hot on the feet, and I had to step in the grass to cool my feet off. So, you know, proof's in the pudding. But yes, I truly believe we are living in that SHTF moment, and it is not just one thing. There are multiple things coming into play, and they are going to compound on each other and just make things worse as we go along. Food shortages, I don't think it's going to be that people are going to be starving because there's no food. I think that the food prices are going to create and continue. They already are creating a lot of problems, but I think they're going to continue to create problems for folks. And that's where you need to get into your dry stores and get into your bulk foods now. I just talking to somebody the other day, and he said, man, I've already spent over $1,000 this month alone, and I'm going back next weekend. I'm spending another $1,000. He said, if I don't spend the money now, I'm going to and get the bulk of the stuff that we're going to put away, then we're going to be spending twice as much for half of the food later on. So, you know, and that makes sense. And I wish people would have been doing this a lot sooner. I wish that, you know, prepping was something that there's such a stigma about that people look at, like, oh, you're one of those guys, and they equate that to the old survivalists and the militias and stuff like that. And surely it's not what it is. It's good emergency management practice. And you know, we have to do that kind of stuff. We have to look at self-sufficiency. We have to look at ways to offset some of these costs. You know, we've turned the air conditioner up a degree in the house, so you know, we've got central air, so we turned the AC up a degree. You know, when it's cool, we turn the AC off, we open the windows, and we try to tolerate it up to about 78 degrees in the house. Once it hits that, I got to get that air on, because whew, boy, it gets warm. And 78 degrees in a house is a lot different than 78 degrees outside, even with fans blowing. So, you know, all of that comes into, you know, just trying to be more frugal and everything like that. And any things that we were planning on buying that we don't necessarily have to have right now, we've kind of pushed off to the side. And, you know, just little things like that. And I mean, over the next 2 years, we'll do what we got to do. I mean, we've got the food stores. We're continuing to add to those as the garden grows, and we start harvesting from the garden. We'll add to that more. And, you know, we got the pigs, got the chickens, and we'll be processing the chickens probably right around the weekend of the 9th, I think, in July, processing 78 chickens. And we'll have that. And there's, of course, some friends that are, you know, they want some and everything like that. But, and then we got the pigs coming up, but that won't be till November. And they're growing these things. Oh, well, I love having pigs. I tell you, this is probably, so far, this is my favorite farm animal that we've ever raised. Not that we're like experienced at it, but between the chickens and the turkeys and stuff, I really enjoy having the pigs. So, and I can't wait to get lambs next year. That's one of the big things. Rabbit hutch, that's the next project to get started on. And I've already bought the rabbits. I got 2 breeding pairs, and he's holding them until we get the hutch built. So I've got the cages. I just need to build the enclosure for them to keep them safe and stuff like that from predation. But, you know, we've got the berry bed done. We got the grape arbor done. We got the mulberry tree planted. We got the garden beds out here, or the garden, tilled and planted over 1,000 seeds. I built 2 more raised beds. We got those filled, got those planted, got everything planted. I mean, hey, we're moving along, and berry season is coming up now. I just had a couple of ripe raspberries the other day when I was mowing grass. I come along the fence line. I was like, hey, looky there, and enjoyed that. And it seems a little early. I think usually we're more towards the end of June, into the 1st of July before those are on and ripening, the raspberries, because the raspberries come on before the blackberries do. And we actually, they're coming on a little bit earlier. And somebody else had mentioned that it seems like our growing season is getting later, it's starting later, and it's lasting later. So we've had tomatoes on and peppers on the last 2 years into November, because the weather's been warmer during those months. Now whether that plays out again this year or not, I don't know. I mean, we were probably about 2 weeks behind on this garden here that I wanted to get, but with everything else going on, we had to focus on that. But truly, I honestly believe we are living in that SHTF moment, and it's not just one thing. And I believe if you go back in my video library there, you'll see that or hear that I've said that you can prepare for any kind of disaster out there and practice and plan, and typically the disaster that you face is not going to be the one that you experience. And that goes back to EMS when we used to do disaster planning and response. Was we would plan for and train for disasters, and then of course when a disaster actually occurred, it was nothing that we'd ever planned for. But having that good framework in place really made things go a lot smoother. And that's what this is again. Whether it be economic, whether it be food shortages, whether it be fuel prices and things like that, we can make do, and we're going to make do, because that's just what we have to do. Everything else going on in society right now with the craziness, all the violence and stuff going on, I'm not going to blame an object. I'm very pro Second Amendment, and that object has nothing to do with people's viciousness and evilness in the heart. Right there's where all that's coming from, and that's something that we need to address. You can't make obtaining guns harder on a legal law-abiding citizen and think you're going to stop the criminals. And that's all we continue to hear, is how they're going to make it harder for people to get guns, but no way to stop the criminals from getting them, because the criminals don't follow the laws that they're putting into place. So that's all I'm going to say on that. But anyways, yes, folks, I truly believe we are living in that SHTF moment, and everything that we've planned for and prepared for up until now is going to get us through this. We may come out a little leaner, we may come out a little bit more resilient, but you got to keep a positive side on it. And that's what I always encourage, emergency preparedness, prepping, however you want to look at it. So I'm going to get off that, and I'm going to show you guys something, because I know a lot of folks and a lot of my friends have been asking questions and stuff like that, and I love that stuff. I love to hear that when people are doing this kind of stuff, and that they are doing and taking it seriously and preparing. So food grade IBC tote, which is one of these water totes. So I bought this off of a friend, and then I found I had to buy the nozzle down here for a garden hose. It gets screws on the end of that. Okay, I was going to paint this thing because it's white, kind of a white clear plastic collar, and if you don't cover it or darken it or paint it, it'll grow algae in it. While I was looking for that valve, I come across this on Amazon, and it's a light cover that you cover this thing with, and it's got the foil reflection on the inside of it. And even on days when it was 94 degrees and sunny, this water stayed cool in here, and this thing sits right out in the dead center of it, all of it. Now it's got little straps on here to buckle it down and kind of hold on to it if you want to. And I actually tore one the very first time I put it on, so it's not like it's heavy duty tough, going to withstand a lot of abuse. But for I think $20-30, something like that, on Amazon, IBC tote cover, this thing's working out great, and it's holding up to the rain. It's waterproof because the water just kind of sets and gathers on top of it here in the low spots, as you can see right here. And it doesn't seem to mold or anything like that. So it's held up. So if you've got IBC water totes that you're using for, water collection, or, whatever purpose you're using for, get on Amazon and look up IBC tote cover, and you can find them on there for, I think they're like $30 or something like that. But I'm filling this one up. This one's finally got it empty, so I'm got it out here at the far end of the hose stretch and getting it filled up right now, so I can get back out there and get it set up and get the chickens watered. Watered them last night, and that's when I usually do, is I water them in the evening. And So I went out there last night, watered them. I ran the last little bit out of it. So that's what we're doing. It's just getting it filled up. And the pigs, they are growing. Miss Peppa here, she's getting to be a beast. There's Coke. There is Pignacious, and over there the big butted one. That would be Pig Demon. And what a butt. So really enjoy having them. They're very comical. They're very social animals, and when they get to playing, it's funny. So I don't have a problem with what's coming. I mean, it has to be done. That's the whole purpose of what we got them for, but I'm going to enjoy them until that time comes. But that's going to be it. Sorry I haven't got one out for a while, but we have been extremely busy. And with a full-time job and you know, trying to play by the weather and everything, it's tough, but it can be done. So I'm going to leave you with that, and I'm going to tell you and encourage you to get to prepping if you haven't started. Double down on what you're doing. Be wise, be frugal with your efforts and stuff. Try to get that debt paid off if you're in debt, especially like credit cards and stuff like that. You need to kind of follow that Dave Ramsey snowball effect, where you start paying your lowest one off first, and after that's paid off, add that money to the next one, double up on it, pay it off, then take all that money, add it to the next one, and get that stuff paid off, because interest rates are just, they're going to be astronomical before it's all over with. So keep working towards self-sustainability, self-reliance, and good emergency preparedness. Keep prepping and keep working to starve that system before that system starves you. Take care, and God bless.